Hello, everybody. Welcome to AWE, and thank you very much for coming here today. It's a real honor to present to you. So I'm going to give a very quick introduction and hand over to my friend and colleague, Toshi Suzuki. So we're going to talk today about how Sony is using immersive engineering to design future consumer products. But before we get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about who Siemens is and what we do. So Siemens helps the coolest brands on the planet to win Formula One championships, break records, and also transform sustainable aviation. And how do we do that? Well, we enable them to create the digital twin of their product in our amazing product engineering software called Design Center. My name's Ben Widdowson, and I'm head of marketing for immersive engineering. So we help our customers to create the most comprehensive digital twin of their products. And this is using the best-in-class software called Design Center. And this allows them to create the digital twin and to engage with it before they manufacture. We call this software Design Center NX, and it allows customers to do everything from design consumer products to full airplanes, cars, and everything in between. And we believe that the future of product engineering is immersive. So the big question is why haven't we done this before? Why aren't we there yet? And for me, I think the biggest misunderstood problem within the design and engineering space is the nature of the data. Unlike things like games where the data is finished and static, in design, the data is constantly changing. So you can imagine hundreds of engineers designing thousands of parts for a new car. The data is never standing still. And traditionally, to get into XR, they would have had to export the data into something like STEP and maybe go into a game engine like Unity, for example. And for a designer on a day-to-day basis, this just makes the whole process non-viable. And this is the number one reason why it has not become today, as yet, ubiquitous. So we're looking to change that. So we've partnered together with Sony. Sony is one of our biggest and most exciting customers using our design solutions. And Sony switched over to using NX a number of years ago and saw a big productivity boost with their own engineering team. And they actually approached us to say that they were looking to take the next step and become even more productive, reduce the number of physical prototypes for their own products, and also enhance collaboration across their global workforce. So we brought together Siemens' rich history of developing cutting-edge industrial software with Sony's deep heritage of creating awesome consumer products. And this has led us to create an industry-first integrated XR solution for design and engineering. And we call this immersive engineering. And as I say, it's this combination of Sony's hardware and Siemens software deeply integrated together to make the easiest, most seamless experience for doing CAD. And it won an award at CES. And to tell you more about this, I'm going to hand over to my good friend, Toshi Suzuki, who's going to tell you how Sony is using it themselves.
Okay, thank you for your introduction, Ben. My name is Toshi Suzuki. I'm heading XR business in Sony. So XR business, so many topics in this AW as well. But Sony also has a variety of XR technology and solutions. And today I would like to show our product head-mount display. But before that, why Siemens and Sony? That I would like to explain. Many of you may be wondering why they collaborate together. And the truth is, Sony has a clear purpose as a company to support creators always. When we say creators, we are not just talking about the filmmakers or game developers. We also mean people, those who are working in manufacturing and engineering. To help you better understanding this vision, I would like to show you a video that illustrates the world Sony aimed to create.
What is Kondo? It is the feeling of being alive. It is the energy that empowers others. It is something shared around the world, bringing people together. When Kondo unites us, it connects us to the future. It becomes the power to create more Kondo and the driving force that moves the world. That's why we've always strived to deliver Kondo. And now, by unleashing creativity and enhancing technology, we aim to create more Kondo. Creative entertainment. It's where our identity lies. By providing the finest tools and ideal environments, we craft heart-moving entertainment alongside creators. By creating spaces and frameworks for people to connect and share, we spread Kondo in this very moment. As we look ahead, we'll continue to evolve creation, transcending boundaries to deliver all kinds of Kondo, to a world where everyone can live a life filled with emotion, anytime and anywhere. Sony's purpose: fill the world with emotion through the power of creativity and technology.
So the video we showed is mainly entertainment contents, but we believe not just entertainment content, but also most of all data will be three-dimensional and also a spatial content that we should change using the XR technology. Needless to say, the audience here in AWE believe that future. That's why you come here. But we co-developed between Siemens and Sony. Let me explain the background. In this sense, the collaboration between Siemens, a company driving innovation in manufacturing through digital twin technology, and Sony, a company that has a continuously developed technology to support creators, a very natural fit. And we have a long history to work together for CAD creation. So this project began with a shared discussion between Sony and Siemens, how we could bring new value to our customers. Yes. Now, I would like to talk about what mechanical engineering Sony usually goes through when working with a 3D CAD. First of all, let's consider a basic point. We are looking at the 3D shapes on a 2D monitor. Since it's not actually three-dimensional to our eyes, we constantly rotate the 3D models with a mouse to understand their shape. If you were to go back to your own company and stand behind the designer while they work, you would probably notice that a significant amount of time is not spent on modeling itself, but rather on rotating the model just to check the shape. Then, this is something that often happens with new employees at the company. They carefully model every tiny detail, and when they finally submit the design for prototyping, then a week or 2 weeks later, prototype arrives, and at that point, every new employee said the same thing. Wait, this is smaller than I imagined that it happens. Most people have already noticed the sense of size they get from viewing a model in CAD in 2D display often differs from the actual size of parts or product. It is usually at this point, especially for new employees, that they realize they have designed shapes that are simply impossible to manufacture with plastic. Color also plays an important role. In fact, people's perception of size can change depending on the color. For those of us who develop consumer electronics, this is a significant challenge, making it essential to evaluate the design using the product's final color. What we have been discussing with the team at the Siemens is whether it's possible to fundamentally change the design environment that has long been taken for granted. This illustration was drawn by a Sony UX designer during the very, very early stage of our discussions, and I believe it represents the vision we aimed for. The UX we sought to achieve is a design environment where what you create is instantly displayed as a full-scale 3D model and can be edited directly. In other words, you can view the design result in real time in a fully three-dimensional way, no data conversion needed. NXCAD can be used as is, with its familiar usability extended into 3D, minimizing the learning curve. It integrates naturally into the designer's workflow without disrupting how they work. We place a particular emphasis on the last 2 points. This is because changing CAD systems imposes burden on the designers, and it's natural for people to resist changes in their work environment. Therefore, we developed this UX with Siemens so that NX could be used exactly as before, but with the added benefit of being able to view designs in the true 3D. The keywords that emerged was seamless. Our goal was to build a design environment where the real and the virtual worlds flow seamlessly, enabling efficient design. To realize those goals, the hardware specifications have been carefully determined. One is head-mounted display designed for use in the office. Second is a high resolution to clearly distinguish shapes in 3D models and the virtual monitors. The last thing is a new controller that enables simultaneous use with a keyboard, frequently switching with a mouse, a spatial pointing. Let me briefly introduce the XR head-mount display. Regarding the head-mount display, it is designed with a focus on balance to minimize the load on the neck. Its shape allows users to wear their regular glasses without any issues. Additionally, it features a flip-up function that lets you easily switching your view to the real world without having to take off the devices frequently. So engineers can watch both 2D display and wearing a 3D on your headset and go and back easily. Additionally, the lenses incorporate Sony's advanced optical technology, achieving high resolution even at the edge of the field of view. The controller is designed with NX in mind, which involves the use of keyboard and mouse. In addition, we have developed a new type of pointing controller. Now, I'd like to share some use case from Sony. We are currently preparing for the upcoming introduction of the Immersive Designer, which is just a few months away. Although it has not yet been implemented in actual design work, we are conducting various tests in anticipation of its adoption. There are several use cases Sony is planning to implement, but today I'd like to introduce 3 of them. First, virtual mockup. Second, improving efficiency by modeling directly in 3D space. And the third, design reviews. First, let me talk about the virtual mockups. We designed products like a camera and headphones. In the early stage of design, we create many mockups to check things like the sense of size and whether the buttons are easy to reach. For example, we verify if the products look smaller compared to others, when displayed on a Best Buy shelf. At this stage, we also explore questions like, what if it were a little bigger? Or what would it look if it were a bit smaller? Until now, this process requires making a physical mockups repeatedly, several times, checking, modifying, and making new mockups, which was very costly and time-consuming. Let's see what happens if we use an immersive environment. First, we bring up a virtual monitor like this. This allows us to operate NX, just as I normally would. What you see here is initial design of a camera created easily in NX. This model is fully linked with NX. For example, since we need to check the color accuracy, let's change the color to black. When we set the material in NX, and the virtual model updates immediately. This also allows us to compare it directly with the real camera. If the design required the product to be slightly larger, registering it on the NX side immediately reflects the change in the virtual mode as well. Now, suppose we are verifying the button placement. Here, the button is a temporary position, but it looks a bit recessed and not very easy to press. So using NX commands, we move the button to better position directly with the immersive environment. This makes it possible to quickly determine the optimal placement. Then finally, let me give an example of design review. One of the main things we designers check during the review is whether there are issues with assembly. Until now, we would verify this by physically producing parts using a 3D printing or machining and inspecting them. But now it's possible to perform this verification virtually. Let me explain what this means. Many of you have already used a move component function when moving assembly parts. The key point is that when you move parts, the immersive environment, the actual position and the dimensions are reflected back in NX. Furthermore, this function includes interference checking. For example, parts will turn red if they interfere, or they will stop moving when they come into contact. Importantly, this works with real design data, not converted mesh data. This allows of extremely realistic assembly simulations. Here you can see an example where we assembly parts that previously considered difficult or concerned to put together. As shown, we are able to confirm that they can be assembled properly. Again, in summary, including the two detailed examples I explained, those three are the use cases that Sony envisions. By applying, aim to reduce the cost, improving efficiency, and enhance design quality across the entire workflow. This is the purpose of why we developed this solution together with Siemens. Thank you very much.
So just one final quick reminder. If anybody wants to come and try this out themselves, we have some demonstrations up on the Sony booth, which is booth 309. You can't miss it. It's the first one you see when you walk in. And if you want to learn more about the solution or request a demo, then you can scan this QR code and it'll take you straight to the page where you can do that. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And if you have any questions, we'll be sticking around to answer them. Thank you.
If anyone has any questions, please come to this mic.
Hey, great presentation. Nice video, by the way. I love the emotion direction. and then the CAD. I'm an industrial engineer at first, but I launched my VR company back in 2014. So headset is a thing of my life now, I guess. And my first question was this developed in partnership as well with the PSVR team, or it was like a separate department?
Okay. I'm really a good friend of Sony Interactive Entertainment. That's why we internally working close with the PSVR team and getting some their know-how or PSVR or PSVR2. Actually, some engineer moved from SIE to our team.
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool.
That's why we shared how to develop a head-mount display.
Okay, great. So you didn't start from zero. That's good. And just one quick question. So now it is released. It is being used by people. You said you use it internally, but it is used by other company.
Yes, it's used by a whole number of companies. We're collating those use cases now. It was first released at the end of January. So we have our first active customers using it in production now. And we have a number of stories that we'll be building out and sharing over the coming months.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I can't wait to know about the use case and who could be the end user. So do you see this as a big TAM, a good volume of headset?
Yeah, I think it's most people's experience of using 3D CAD is with a mouse and keyboard. So it's definitely going to be a change for people, but we definitely see this as the future, and we're really excited to work with all our customers to help them move towards that future.
Awesome. Good job, guys. Yeah, it's fabulous. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
We develop augmented reality software for pre-surgical planning, and I saw some of the use cases, and I'm just curious if you see any applications for this in healthcare.
So certainly we have customers within the healthcare and medical sector developing devices. We also have a number of customers who are creating things like implants, both for dental and for orthopedic. So yeah, there's definitely medical applications. Whether or not this would be used in a clinical environment, I don't know. It's obviously more focused on the design and engineering environment, so probably more aligned to the device development rather than in a clinical environment.
From a Sony side, not a head-mount display, but we have a spatial reality display. Also, you can check in our booth. Without glass, but looks 3D type of a display we have. And using DICOM data of MRI or CT scan, convert to a 3D modeling, kind of, let's say, applications are already existing in the market, including Siemens Healthineers. So Siemens CAD team, Siemens Healthineers, we work together in several contexts. Yeah, so please visit our booth.
All right, that's all the time we have for questions. Let's give another round of applause for Toshi and Ben.